Hey, it's Vaughn here at your jazzdrumschool.com YouTube channel. Aloha, hope you're doing well. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how I practice and prepare for gigs when I have drum charts. So I have a really fun gig tonight playing in Kyoto, playing some funky, smooth, jazzy, fusion-y kind of stuff, and I'm really looking forward to it. One of the tunes we're going to play is called Run for Cover. It's a great tune written by the great Marcus Miller, bassist, and it was recorded on David Sanborn's album Straight to the Heart. David Sanborn, of course, a great alto saxophonist. And the tune is really pretty straightforward, but just the ending of the tune, the coda, is just a little bit tricky. So it's what I really want to focus on in my practice. Now, if you're not familiar with reading a drum chart or a lead sheet, I encourage you to check out my Brushes Mastery course. Believe it or not, in there I teach you how to read a drum chart and also teach you how to read musical notation. I also teach you how to read musical notation in my Intro to Jazz drumming course. So I'm going to put the links down below in the description, and you can also click on the link here for the Brushes Mastery course. All right, so what we're going to do here is focus on the coda. Focus on the last 8 measures of the tune. And these are just kind of the trickiest part. And they're not like super tricky, but they're just intricate enough that I want to make sure I nail them. All right, so what we got here on the end of the tune is on the first measure, we have that kind of a kick on the E of 1. And then after that, we're going to have kicks on all the Uhs of 4 for the next 3 measures. After that, the last stave, we're going to play on count 2. We're going to play kick on starting on count 2, some little figures there. Count 4, count 2 again of the next measure, and then the end is that kind of characteristic kind of motive of the tune is da 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 bow. Okay, and that's going to be the ending. All right, so in the first measure, what I've got there is ba 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 ba. That's also characteristic kind of motive of the tune, of the melody, and so those are all kick notes basically. Those are all notes I'm going to hit. So let me show you how I'm going to play those. And once I'm comfortable with it, then what I'm going to do is add some time to it. So check this out. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so from there, I'm feeling kind of comfortable with it. I'm kind of getting the idea. And what I encourage you to also do is take just like one measure like that and try to do as many different variations filling as you can. You might just end up doing the same thing every time, but it's kind of fun to be creative and try different ways. So check this out. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see I'm having a lot of fun. I'm just kind of getting into it, and I'm kind of coming up with new ways or other ways, more creative ways I can do it. I think this is really helpful for our creativity so that we don't get locked into playing drum licks and we end up actually being more musical and interactive with the music. All right, so for the next measures, the next 2, 3, and 4, they're all the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take measure 2 and I'm going to loop it just like I did with the first one, and I'm going to basically take a couple of different approaches. If the melody is really kind of intricate, which it actually kind of is actually in these measures, I'm going to probably just stay out of the way and play groove time. And maybe just a little bit of a drum fill going into the kick. If it's kind of more open, I'm going to fill in, do more drum fills. So I want to kind of practice both ways anyway because I'm practicing. So what I'm going to do is start off by giving you an example of just playing with groove time, and then another example of playing it with drum fills. Check it out. 1, 2, 1. So you kind of get the idea, right? And it's, again, a lot of fun. Try to come up with as many variations as you can and have a lot of fun with it. Now, the next 4 measures, the last stave, What we're going to do is, these are it's kind of interesting. One, ta ta ba 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 ta da. That's what's going on there. One, da 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 da. Now, if you come across something that's really, really tricky, okay, and you don't, or maybe just doesn't feel natural for you, what you got to do is break it down and just zero in on just that one part. So, for example, if I can't get that one, da da da, but if I'm having a hard time with that, I'm just going to focus in on that and just do one, ba ba ba, and just really kind of internalize that one kick, and maybe just loop it over and over again until I feel really comfortable. The other thing to think about when you're setting up kicks is to match that articulation. So if you've got long notes and short notes, try to make the short notes shorter than the long notes, right? Ba 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 ba, right? I'm kind of making that sound where boop ba is longer than boop ba. So I want my notes on the drum set to reflect the articulation that's on the page, right? So now let's go ahead and take these two measures, and I'm going to go back to playing out of time again so that I can really kind of internalize what's happening with these figures. So check it out. Now let's put it into time, and let's just loop those two measures. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you get the idea, it's a lot of fun. Now, what we're going to do next is finish it out. So the very last thing we have to play is that da-da-da-da-da-da-bow. And if we read that carefully, you could play it different ways. The main thing you got to focus on is nailing that last kick, that last hit, all right? And so when I'm going through my practice, I just want to make sure that I'm connecting the dots. The dots are the parts that are the most important kicks that you got to hit, all right? You don't have to hit everything in between, but you got to make sure you nail those things where the band is all aligning together. And that last note is really important. So what we're going to do is just focus on that last measure and just make sure that we're reading it and playing it correctly. Now we've got a combination here of 32nd notes and 16th notes there on the last, on count 4, which is really kind of fun. And let's just kind of break it down really slow, out of time, and then we'll work on playing it in time. One thing you can do to also spice up that phrase is dynamically start soft on the count 3 with those 16th notes and kind of crescendo into the ending. Da-da-da-da-da-da-do-ba kind of thing. That works really, really well. All right, so now let's put everything together in that last stave. And what we're going to do is in between that last kind of hit, those kind of kicks we're playing on count 2 of the second measure, okay, we're going to then play a drum fill from there on counts 3, counts 4, counts 1 and 2, leading into count 3 of the next measure where we're finishing out the tune. So check this out. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now let's check in on the tempo. The tempo we're going to be playing here is about 100, and this is a good speed. This is kind of about how they play it on the recording, and it's a nice tempo, nice funky way to play the tune. So what we're going to do is play along with the metronome, and we're going to just work on those last 8 measures. We're just going to play from beginning to ending of the last 8 measures or the coda of the tune. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the final thing we're going to do is we're going to go from the last 8 measures of the DS part, which is basically starting at C, and then we're going to transition into the ending. We're going to work on connecting from the DS part into the coda. This is a really important skill also, because sometimes it's a little bit tricky transitioning between those two parts. So we want to make sure that's a really smooth transition also. So check this out. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that's it. So that's how I break it down and practice the more complicated stuff for my gigs. I've been doing this a long time. This is exactly the way that I approach it, and it really helps. So I hope that's helpful for you too. If you haven't already, I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel. Be sure to like the video if you like it and drop a comment. Let me know if this video was helpful for you, and let me know also how you like to practice and prepare for your gigs. Now, if you're not on my email list, you're not getting an extra 2 free drum lessons a month. Be sure to click up here and down below in the description. You can sign up for that today. All right, keep swinging, my friend.